Reading from something that's current, I thought I might read from something that hasn't been published yet. So you're the very first people to ever hear this. This is from a collection of short stories, the title of which is probably going to be "Thank you for staring into the void, your scream is important to us." The stories in it are perfectly serious horror stories, except for this one, which I just couldn't resist. So with apologies to P.G. Wodehouse, this is the first bit of Perkins Saves the Day. There I was, adopting a suave pose at the French windows, and feeling hugely confident tonight's finals in the 1929 Gadfly darts tournament, when I noticed something rather rummy. I say, I said, peering out at the well-manicured grounds of Wapley Hall, Auntie Maud has risen from the grave. Risen from the grave? Said Emerald, looking up from her cucumber sandwich like a gazelle caught mid-nibble on the plains of the Serengeti. How so? Well, you know that family tomb thingamy down near the boating shed? The one crowded with angels and cherubim and whatnot? The very one. We bunged her in there last Tuesday, complete with carved encomium and declaring, I told you it was my last Christmas. But there she is, biffing across the lawns at full steam. Take a look. Emerald skipped across the drawing room to my side. Dashed attractive girl is Emerald Fry, all bobbed blonde hair and striking profile. She wrinkled her delightfully petite nose as she stared at the wild figure of Auntie Maud, still a few hundred yards off, but making a beeline for the house. Oh dear. Even from here she looks awfully cross. But then who wouldn't if laid to eternal slumber in error? There's no error, I explained. She always has that feral look. She's what you'd call a tough aunt, the sort who wrestles gorillas and chews broken glass by the full moon. We made sure she was fully deceased, explicitly to avoid mistakes, because her afternoon naps have caused more than one footman to run screaming in horror, thanks to her pallor and the way her tongue lolls out between her teeth. Oh, so she's definitely undead then, said Emerald, tapping nervously at her pearl choker. Must be, I'm afraid, I tutted. If only to judge by her shroud, ripped and bloodied like that. If she was still alive, she wouldn't be seen dead in such a state. I wonder what could have caused her reanimation. More to the point, we'd better stop her, said Emerald, before she goes marauding through the summer fete. Oh, corks, you're right, I cried. At that very moment, on the land in front of the hall, sun-bronzed villagers would be preparing assorted egg and spoon races and refreshment tents for the imminent annual Wapley-on-Avon binge. After the frightful hash I'd accidentally made of last year's festivities, anything in the region of a dust-up at today's gala would find Lord Wapley re-stringing his tennis racket with the gizzards of a beloved nephew, i.e. me. But what to do? While beauty and brains come as a matching set with Emerald, my own mental processes are widely acknowledged as outclassed by a goldfish. I leapt for the bell to summon Perkins, my valet, because his mental processes are widely acknowledged to show up Mr. Einstein as a bit of a chump. He appeared instantly. Perkins, that is, not Mr. Einstein, and took stock of the situation with lightning efficiency. We three stepped out through the French doors onto the veranda, where we could get a clearer look at the advancing aunt via Perkins' pocket spyglass. I declared, when it was my turn. She's got eyes like golf balls and enough froth at the mouth to be the envy of rabid dogs everywhere. Most distressing, sir, said Perkins. But what sort of risen corpse is she? Said Emerald. Is she the straightforward murdering kind, or is she the kind whose bite issues the bitee with an invite to join the living dead? Does it matter? I said. It certainly does, said Emerald. If she's type A, it's simply a question of bopping her on the head before she chews through too many innocent bystanders. If type B, we'll have to seal off the house and grounds before the whole village, and thence the world, turns into ravenous, hideous beasts. Miss Emerald is quite correct, sir, said Perkins. The distinction is one of considerable significance. Oh, you know, I grumbled, I sometimes think fate is simply determined to take the raz. If I might make a suggestion, sir, it may be possible to nip this particular difficulty in the bud, as it were, with the aid of his lordship's shotgun. A topping idea, Perkins, I said. I will endeavour to fetch the firearm with all possible speed, sir, since I notice her ladyship appears to have caught our scent, and is heading this way with some eagerness. Off he went. At least we spotted him before she can do any damage, I mused. Emerald's lips wiggled. Might not a ripped and bloodied shroud imply a kill or two? Back he came. Emerald, being a crack shot, what a girl, swung the shotgun up to her shoulder and took aim, while I, being a wilting flower, stuck my fingers in my ears and mulled over that last remark of Emerald's with ever-increasing alarm. Auntie Maud was barely 10 yards away now, snarling and slavering, propelling herself forward with clawed hands outstretched. There was an almighty bang, and her head exploded. The air was filled with the aromas of cordite and gristle. If you will allow me, sir, murmured Perkins, leaning forward and brushing fragments of skull from my blazer with a handkerchief. Excellent shot, miss. Thank you, Perkins. One, I wished with all my heart and soul that Emerald's remark about the shroud would turn out to be wrong in every possible respect. And two, Emerald's remark about the shroud turned out to be right. It may have been the noise of the gun that alerted Auntie's victims to her presence. Suddenly, from the direction of the kitchen garden, stalked Merriman, the head groundskeeper, and a small flock of under-gardeners, each gnashing their choppers and bleeding from an orifice or two. Ah, sighed Emerald. A type B, I believe. Auntie Maud must have buzzed through the greenhouse like a plague of locusts, I gasped. Emerald snapped open the shotgun. We're going to need more ammo, Perkins. The ever-resourceful valet handed her a box of cartridges. I anticipated just such a contingency, miss. She gave him one of her most dazzling smiles. You really are the complete bee's knees, Perkins. Thank you very much, miss. It may be prudent, sir, for me to inform the organisers of the fate of events here, in case the sound of gunfire causes undue consternation. Indeed, Perkins, I said. We don't want the village proletariat thinking the red flag's gone up and grabbing their pitchforks. Perkins gave a deferential dip of the head and departed at a dignified pace. Just as Emerald heave-hoed the shotgun and blew out the brains of the nearest oncoming corpse. A large splash of grey matter hit my striped trouserings. These gardeners, much younger and lighter on their feet than Auntie Maud, whose below-stairs sobriquet, the Whale of Wapley, was in no way ironical, were therefore moving with a speed which raised the hairs on the back of my neck and froze my spine with the looming fear of having my innards pulled out. When you're ready, Emerald, I trembled. I'm all fingers and thumbs. There we are, reloaded. Bang! Spot on target, and another gardener fell headless. Bang! Slightly off-centre, taking only a mangled half off the fellow's face, but fortunately enough to floor the blighter. We made a stumbling retreat across the veranda, with the last two snapping at our heels, like shipwrecked mariners who've just spotted the only coconut on the island. By way of defence, I picked up a garden chair and heaved it at them. They batted it aside with ease and left it smashed on the pavement. Soil-stained fingers grasped at our extremities and hungry mouths lunged. Bang! Bang! Instantly, my ears felt as if they'd been wedged into Big Ben at noon. I looked down to find bursts of undergardeners scattered at my feet. It took me a moment or two to realise that I was now drenched from tip to toe in blood and entrails. "Oh, you poor lamb," said Emerald, whose house of Worth dress had fortunately remained untouched by a single corpuscle. "Poor Perkins come laundry day," I said, peeling a squashed eyeball off my lapel. "Oh well, at least the whole of civilization, plus the Wapley-on-Avon fete, and my evening at the darts final are all safe and sound once more." I was completely wrong. Again. And to find out why, you'll have to read the book.